Hello, welcome back, everybody, to Midnight Monday, where we will be continuing our story, um, set aboard the generation ship known as the Endeavor. Last game, as a recap, three members of the crew woke up on their crew rotation. Uh, Basically, every so many years, they have to wake up for 10 years to run the ship to get it to where it's going. Um, and then they go back into stasis, and the next crew wakes up. However, this crew woke up decades late and unable to, with the only three members of the crew still alive are the XO, Jacob Andrews, the chef, Bella Page, and the AI engineer, Titus Winterborn. And they have been wandering through this ship trying to figure out, piece together exactly what happened. Um, Unfortunately, the ship seems to be surrounded by some sort of veil of darkness that is penetrating the outer portions of the deck. The lights are on, but they're not actually showing, they're not actually reflecting off of a lot of surfaces, and things are just generally not okay. When we were last left off, they had found another survivor on the ship who was locked away in the crew commons area that had been under some sort of explosive decompression and it didn't have any atmosphere in it. They set up an emergency airlock, pulled the guy out. He woke up, or he, for one moment, he pulled his helmet off and took a deep breath, said, I can't believe that worked, passed out, and that is where we have left our group. Currently, we're going to begin this day with some content warnings, which we have put into the chat here, but will deal with the aftermath of suicide, darkness, solitude, claustrophobia, bioplugs and ports, body horror, the vastness of space. Um, so if anyone has any, so this is a horror game, so just letting you know for anyone who is viewing, it can be a little harrowing at times. So you know, hopefully you'll enjoy. Um, I am Comrade Papa Bear, one of the or Gavin, and one of the developers of this game, The Midnight World. I just spoke with James today, and if things go as they should, by September 1st, we should be available on uh, uh, that website that
Drive
was
through RPG.
there, Drive Through RPG. Egger knows. We should be available on Drive Through RPG. We will have basically printing is starting at that moment too. We're just, as soon as the prints get out, we start mailing them to backers, and we're going to get copies out to the different events we end up going to over the course of the next year, and you'll get notifications here on Midnight Monday as to what events we will be at, so you can come check us out if we're in the area. uh, I'm gonna turn it over to an introduction for my crew here. Let's start with Bella Page.
Hi, I'm Pixie. I will be playing the chef Bella Page tonight. She's not having a good time.
No, she is not. The XO.
Uh, I'm Edgar. Be portraying the diminutive Exo Jacob Andrews. Uh, he's got big shoes to fill, more than usual.
And Titus.
Hi everyone. I'm Ourania Stars. I'll be playing Titus, the AI engineer who really keeps trying to make friends with the AI and it's not biting.
And there we are. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right on into it here. Where we left last, Jacob Andrews was up on the command deck, fiddling around with stuff, trying to get some answers to some questions after they unlocked all the command deck to kind of check, get what he can. From there, while Bella and Titus went down to the crew quarters with the emergency airlock to rescue the survivor, um, whom is currently laying at their feet in the middle of the lift, on the ground and unconscious. Helmet lying next to him, and we are picking up from that moment. So Titus, Bella, he has just said, "I can't believe that worked," and then passed out. He is. I'll give you a quick explanation here. All right. So the man lying on the ground looks to be in his late 30s, early 40s, and he has streaks of gray around his temples and highlighting his wiry, unkempt beard. His lips are cracked and bleeding in places, and when they were open, for just a moment, you noticed that both of his eyes were bloodshot. He has a few radiation burns around his face, and there is blood covering the front of his suit from some sort of puncture. It looks like a medical foam patch was used to poorly staunch the blood.
First aid time.
Yes, first aid time.
Okay, so I need someone who's going to be doing that to make a medicine check.
That's aptitude of. She's first aid training.
That is an acumen plus wit. We're going to call it an acumen plus wit. Medicine is the skill.
Okay, so we have 2 dice, one's a d8, and
Sure,
then
I'll-
3 distress dice.
He'll be fine. I believe in him.
So that was the complicated success. I'm gonna spend some seconds to try to fix that.
Okay. Nope. There you
Okay,
go.
so
That's
after
There we
spending
go.
2 seconds to
one
roll the
success.
d8, we now have a regular success instead of a complicated success.
Yes, you now have a one success, and for those following along at home, in this system, if you get 0 successes, you still succeed. It's just complicated. If you get 1 success, you succeed, and if you get 4 or more, you have a phenomenal success. Less than 0 successes is where you have catastrophic failures. And as the game progresses, you will gain distress dice, which work against your rolls and allow you to get those negative amounts. So, yeah, your medical roll here. The first, after a few moments of kind of looking through, you look at the bio readings on the suit, and you notice that there's a massive amount of CO2 in his system, as well as in the airway systems to the suit. According to the records, he has been breathing in larger and larger amounts of CO2 for the last 3 hours. The wound on his stomach is showing signs, like when you look really close and around it, it's showing signs of like extreme cold. You're but you know, after a cursory examination, you can't do anything for him here. You are going to need to be in the infirmary to have any hope of figuring anything more out. You don't have the tools here. You are not a trained medical professional, but you do have one aboard. Titus, you know that one very well. Its name is Caretaker.
Yup. As we're like hauling, like, as I'm like, because at this point, like, what we're trying to haul him to the medical bay.
Are you? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
right now you've just done a cursory
That's- yeah.
examination. He is breathing. He is alive currently. His suit is showing vitals, though from your examination there, they seem a little weak. But he is alive.
Yeah.
Just to is there anything around? Since I forgot what room he left off in, is there anything that we could use to warm up his torso, where he seems to be having like body parts freezing up?
Well, you're currently in the main lift, so there's not really anything here that you could do that with. You're gonna have to go down to the infirmary area to get that kind of stuff. Fortunately, it's only 1 deck below you.
Yeah. The lift is working now. Yes.
Yes, the lift is active. You reconnected all that stuff in the last session.
Okay. So
Speaking of reconnected, when we got the internal sensors back up, that got us comms as well, right?
You do have comms, yes. You're in contact with them. You also can see them on the security camera within the lift.
Sorry, Ourania, you were saying?
I'm gonna direct the lift down 1 level, and meanwhile, caretaker,
Yes, Titus.
you've got an injury here.
I am reading that. I am still having a trouble syncing up with the with the EV suit he is wearing, but I I also will need to be reconnected to systems in the infirmary, but I should be able to, but I can uh, get a full diagnostic once that is accomplished.
We're headed that way. Any idea if there's like a stretcher near the if a stretcher would be near the exit to the lift once we get to the correct level, or are we hauling him all the way there?
Um, there's a there's like an like part of like emergency kits and stuff for things like that is like a stretcher, so you'll be
Okay.
able to move him. Also, I forgot to mention this in the last game. You are operating at roughly a half of a G, right? So things are a lot lighter than
Oh, okay.
they otherwise would be. So it wouldn't be super difficult to move him. With the
Okay.
suit, he probably weighs as much as a regular full-grown human, and in a pinch, you could probably
Yeah.
move the guy.
Wait, why would it be? Why would he need the suit to be as much as a full-grown human?
Well, because at a half a G, you weigh half the amount. Like if your
Oh,
gravity,
okay. So the suit.
like if I exist
Okay.
in a half G, I'm half my weight roughly. But the suit adds more weight, so he's.
Okay. I thought you meant the equivalent of a full-grown human inside. It was like, wait, diminutive?
No,
What?
no, no. He's not diminutive. Um,
All right. So we're waiting for the lift to get to the infirmary.
and it does. It very quickly moves down and opens. It opens on the side of the infirmary. However, not the stasis area that you started your little adventure here in. And it opens into the infirmary. The infirmary is the largest section of this deck. It takes up about 2/3 of it. Um, and as you walk in, you've got the same situation which you're expecting at this point as the doors open. For a good maybe 5 to 10 meters from the middle of the lift, the lights work as normal. Everything's bright and everything else. And then for about 15 meters, it's much dimmer, and then beyond that there's just a wall of darkness, and on the back end of that wall you can see kind of floating free floating these banks of lights that usually wrap around like the windows and things around the edge, that are not giving off that are obviously on and giving off light, but the light itself doesn't seem to be doing its job in that section. um, Fortunately, the infirmary is pretty well stocked with yeah, everything that you need. There are numerous different beds. Bio beds is something you would throw someone down on and actually connect their bio ports that are in their wrists and back of their neck to one of the beds to get a diagnostic. You've all gone through this process numerous times, so you know pretty innately how that works.
Okay. So, like we get him there. So, are
There is a stretcher that you can get from the infirmary. It is caretaker lets you know that it's located in the storage area. Unfortunately, the storage area is on the back end and in the dark, so you can either drag him there or you can go wandering in the dark looking for one of those stretchers.
You want me to stay here and you get a stretcher?
Yeah, we'll do that. I'll I'll go grab the stretcher from storage.
Okay. You head further and
I'll
further
monitor his signs.
Yeah, you head. So you're gonna head further off into the infirmary. You get to the dim light area, and as you're approaching the darkness, what do you do?
I walk through like I own the place. I'm not using my ability.
You're not.
No.
Okay, so you wander into the darkness, and everything immediately goes pitch black. Um, you are unable to see more than maybe 6 inches in front of your face. The lights, you're still wearing your EV suit, and there's lights on them. And the lights on them, you can see from the corner of your eye shining, but they're not actually hitting anything in front of you. You put your hand up, and it does it like and reaching about maybe 6 to 8 inches away from the light, you can see it kind of hit your hand, but that's about all the power it gives you. Um, or all the
I'm gonna-
distance is really giving you.
I'm gonna keep my arm in front of me to like make sure that I'm not like gonna imminently run into anything, but otherwise
okay.
I'm just gonna keep going.
Let's make ourselves a stumble in the dark roll. We're gonna call this one an intuition, plus your composure. No, vigilance. Intuition plus vigilance, and for this one, I will allow medicine and navigation.
Of which I'm pretty sure I have neither.
I don't think you have either, yeah.
Nope. And then
Oh no, Titus, your trauma trigger.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Give me a. Yeah, we're almost there. You're currently in an EV suit. You do not smell anything right now.
Right.
Oh yeah. I'm glad I wandered through the dark just to get those suits so we didn't have to do that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Alright, well, that's a pretty good dice roll.
That is a pretty good dice roll.
That's a pretty good dice roll, for sure.
Successes. So, I mean, you've been in and out of the infirmary enough before that you got a general idea. And after a few moments, you're like, okay, there are so many beds in here, and you kind of like go from bed to bed, and you get to the back wall and feel across one of those banks of lights. And as you get close to the light at the one of the windows, you can see it kind of shining off your suit in when you get super close to it. And following along to the edge, you reach over and you feel one of the storage cabinets. You get to the latch, you unlatch it, open it, and everything in there is kind of secured and tied down because you never know in space, you never want anything just kind of loose. So you go through the process of messing with it and finally unlatching it, and you come back with a stretcher. Um, Stretcher is it's one of those that you can pop the wheels up and put someone on, pop wheels up, and kind of roll them to where they got to go. So that you get it back over to where the survivor is, and the two of you easily kind of throw him on there. You don't need to do any kind of roll for that, and pop the wheels up and are able to roll him towards one of the beds.
As you guys are getting him like up on the stretcher, Jacob will come over comms. Titus, I'm monitoring you from the bridge here, or from the CIC here. I'm still poring over records and seeing what I can find. Do you need assistance down there, or do you guys think you have it? You'll have to reconnect. You'll have to reconnect caretaker to get the more intense medical functions.
I think we're good. I just need to reconnect caretaker. Depending on where the boxes, may have to pop my ED suit, but we'll figure that out when we get there.
Okay.
So the two of you have wheeled the survivor over to one of the bio beds, the closest one. This one's actually kind of still in the bright light, right on the cusp of the dimmer light section, so you're able to see pretty well as you do so. You throw him down on the bed and you get him hooked up. There's really no difficulty with that. Even your EV suits, there are plugs that you can use that are connected. Like while you're in your current EV suit, you're plugged into that suit. So you're basically running another wire off for things to be read. Caretaker, however, has not been reconnected. You, Titus, already know, being an AI engineer, where the location of this is. It's in the floor inside of the. There's an office type. Office is the wrong word. Let me read the word right. Sort of a motor room or type thing where it deals with the different electronics and things like that, where you would go into repair. But the caretaker core connector for this is in that room. That room is located in the dimmer area of the section that you're in. So you don't necessarily, you're not going to be blind when you're in there, fortunately. You're almost feeling like you're lucky this time.
We'll see about that. I'm gonna go ahead and make my way there after helping Bella get our patient onto the bio bed, and see what I can see.
Okay.
She's definitely checking the readings. Since you said that there is like a monitor that you plug it in, there's the
Okay.
health statistics.
kind of going through the suit stuff. Cool. Well, then we will start with you, Bella, since you're going through suit stuff. So as you're connecting the suit, you notice that you know that on each suit there are kind of different things that the suits are built for. They all have like a camera on them that kind of records what you're doing while things are going along, as well as your like bio readouts and the status of the suit itself, things of that nature. And as you're flipping through the little like panel on the side of it, which is the only way you can get a reading right now because caretaker's not reconnected, you notice that you think you've realized why caretaker is having an issue reconnecting to the suit. This suit is showing that. Where'd it go? This suit is showing an internal clock of 65 years ago. Um, it is not syncing up with the current time frame or clock of of Endeavor. Um, this suit is, yeah, it's reading as if it were 65 years ago. This is probably why caretaker is having an issue reconnecting with it.
Does it seem frozen in time, or is it advancing forward like the second hand?
No, I mean it's still moving. It's. I mean the clock, the internal clock on it still moves a second at a time, like any other clock would. It's just 65 years, roughly, give or take, behind where you're at now. In addition, um, you do see that the recording, the recording playback does have something on it.
Definitely want to watch that. But
Okay.
is there a way to just check that his heart rate is still going and things like
Yeah,
that
well, you're seeing
beforehand?
his vitals. He's still alive. You actively see the vitals on the suit, like one of the suit readouts. So currently the heart is beating. It's not great. He's got a lot of CO2 in his system, and he's uh, not doing well. But you're also not a doctor, so it's very difficult to read these things beyond the basic like lines moved mean heartbeat, kind of situation. Did you have medical training?
Okay. I have medicine as a specialty
Okay,
in
if you have
the
medicine as a
context of,
specialty, then you know a little more than that.
yeah, it's the aptitude. So I assume that like she has first aid training instead in case people have weird medical reactions. There's the stuff she cooks.
Right. In this, it means you've also been kind of basically trained in how the biomed readouts and things work, just in a pinch, so you can be conscripted as a nurse in an emergency. Is basically what it's there for. So as you're looking at it, you see the heartbeat is very very low, blood pressure is low. He is suffering from carbon dioxide poisoning, um, and yeah. So, but beyond that, the bed itself, the bio bed's going to have to be the thing that you get more information from. These suits are not built for like full medical like workups. You're also probably going to have to remove the suit coming here soon. But were you going to look at the recording?
Titus, yes, but like telling Titus, let me know the minute you get caretaker online. There's something important here I need to watch, but we don't want him dying on us.
Trust me, you'll know as soon as I get the caretaker back online.
Yeah. So we're going to go to Titus. As you enter the door, you enter this room and see that the caretaker, the like box or conduit where caretaker's stuff is usually connected, is hanging wide open, and just like the other places, has been physically torn out. Um, you're going to have to manually reconnect everything as usual, and I need you to make a acumen plus wit with your engineering, and yes, this is AI engineering, so you get your bonus, your specialization. And by engineering, I meant technology.
Then all of my distress dice.
Yes, it's a big roll for you.
Oof.
I mean, it's one success.
Yep.
All right.
It's 2, isn't it?
So
For the 8?
actually,
Well,
that's a
she got
good
a 1.
question. Well, yeah. So that's actually a good question. When someone rolls an 8,
Oh yeah,
which
you're right.
counts
That's
as
2.
2
It counts as
successes.
2. Yeah, it counts as
Okay.
2. So you do have 2 successes.
Okay.
That was my bad. I wasn't thinking about your specialization. So, you've done this a few times before. It's not super different than what you've been doing the last few hours, and you're able to reconnect Caretaker properly. Once this happens, Bella, you actually see the biobed pop to life, and Caretaker says, um, "These readouts are not are showing close to critical. Uh, we are going to need to remove him from the suit."
On it.
Okay, so
Yep. She has no issue with this. It's first aid. It's not
yeah,
something that she doesn't want to do. So she's
and
cool with
suits.
it.
The suits are you know how to put on and take off a suit. That is part of your initial training, so you don't have much issue with this other than having to like maneuver him and finagle him around. You're trying to do so as carefully as possible because you don't want to injure him. As you're doing this, Titus walks back up to you. Now, Jacob, you've been watching all of this on cameras. Are you doing anything else other than that?
Yeah. So he'll keep that feed up and be kind of checking base on it every once in a while, but primarily he's trying to dig into the logs here and figure out what the heck is going on. And given that the captain of his crew, of Crew F, is uh, is deceased, that puts him next up. So he'll use whatever command overrides to get access that he needs to figure out what's happening.
Well, yeah, you are currently the captain of the ship. The way that it would like shake out, so you actually have the ability to access pretty much anything you want to, with the exception of personal logs.
Mhm.
You're searching through, and there's a lot that you're looking at, you know, almost 90 years of logs of Crew D.
He's actually gonna. I'll because I used Janice's gaze last time to find out when they changed course. I'm
Mhm.
gonna go back to the logs of that date and like look at the week prior, like what happened that got us there.
Okay. So I want you to make it's gonna be an investigation roll because you got to sort through a lot of stuff. So
Mhm.
this is gonna be an acumen plus wit, and that's gonna be investigation.
Okay.
And hold on to that number, and I'll get back to you. Titus and Bella, Titus, you return to help Bella kind of finish off the suit and hook the man up to the biobed. At which point, Caretaker says, once you've like finished plugging him in, Titus, you feel a hand grip your wrist, and you look down and see that his bloodshot eyes are open again, staring at you. And he says, and he just stares at you for a moment, and he says, "You have to get the sensors back online. Get to Yost's quarters, hidden panel behind his bunk," and then he passes out again. And Caretaker says, "My apologies, Titus. I needed to sedate the patient. Uh, he was entering state of shock."
I understand. Um, some heads
So
up would have
what
been
did
nice.
I see? What did I see before?
You haven't looked at the recording thing yet. Is that what you're talking
There was
about?
no time.
Well, you said
Yeah.
that you were going to wait to make sure he was okay before you looked at it. So you can look at it on the suit now. You've taken the suit off. But you do have a recording to look at.
Okay, so we're gonna do the recording now because that will probably give us some. That will give us some context for how we can take care of him while he's passed out here.
Yeah. So I assume you're showing this to Titus as well.
Yeah, that. I
Yep,
think
I'm
Bella's
watching.
generally less secretive than the other two members of this crew.
Okay. Okay. So looking at the recording begins outside of the airlock on the command deck and is showing a timestamp of 65 years ago. Uh, oh, sorry. Caretaker also mentions that after he's plugged in, his name is Roland uh, Reyes. He is Roland Reyes. He was the ship's physicist for Crew D. So Roland reaches out and begins to cycle the airlock, only to spin around quickly. The camera snaps onto the lift and shows a woman in her late 40s step out and say something. It's not something you can make out. The suits typically record audio, but all you're getting now is silence. She approaches Roland carefully, with both hands held and palms down in a gesture of calm, and she's stepping towards Roland slowly and seems to be trying to beckon him from the airlock. Roland looks to the cycling airlock, and as soon as it's open enough, he dives inside and pulls the controls to close the hatch. The woman dives into the airlock with him just as the interior doors close. She leaps towards him, slamming against the back of the wall. Audio crackles to life, and you hear her shouting, "Don't do this, Roland, don't. We can figure all this out. Do not throw your life away." With both arms wrapped around his form, she looks at him through the helmet, and you hear him respond, "I'm sorry, Jess. You weren't supposed to get caught up in this." And the two speak back and forth, Jess trying to convince Roland to turn around and go back, and Roland apologizing over and over as his voice breaks down into racking sobs. The recording shows their feet as Roland drops his head and places his helmet in his gloved hands while sobbing. "It's about more than me and about more than you, Jess. I hope you understand and don't hate me for this." He pushes her against the wall and reaches for the exterior hatch release. The two struggle, and you notice her reach towards the toolkit on the wall. She pulls something from it as Roland finally tosses her aside and jumps towards the latch. He pulls it, and the airlock violently decompresses as you see a look of disbelief on her face as she is pulled towards him out of the airlock. Roland yells, and the two tumble into the starry void of space. For a half a minute, you simply see the spinning of the stars and occasional glimpses of the Endeavor. Roland is holding her close to him and then pushes her away. As he does, you notice an Omni tool jutting from his abdomen, and the recording is um, cuts off. You notice on uh, if you can inspect the suit if you want to, but that is what you get on the recording.
That's a lot. We should stabilize him, but
Auto success for who?
you,
Oh, for me? Ha
you,
ha ha!
yeah.
Yeah, screw you guys.
Thanks, Cat.
They're working for me tonight. Thanks, chat.
The chat giveth, the chat taketh. It's okay.
Yep.
If they can give us the auto success Steve when we want to, I accept that it sometimes goes back to bite us in the tuchus.
There you go.
Did any of that play over comms or?
You can well, I mean, technically, you can have it like, I mean, the whole ship's like wireless, basically, so you can like send it to like whatever thing. So they could have had you watch it with them if they wanted to, pretty simply. So I'll just say all of you
I
saw it.
recognize
Just for...
who. See if I know who Jess is.
Oh,
since we know Roland was the crew physicist.
Okay, Jess is from the crew manifest for Crew D is the crew astronomer, Jessica Dobbin. The picture that you have of her is her much younger than what you saw. But that makes sense and tracks, seeing as how at that point she'd been awake for like 20 some odd years.
Is there a log of what happened before he threw themselves out of the airlock?
Not on
Or
the
does
not
the
on the
log
suit.
only start?
The suit's recording started when he put the suit on. So that is what you're getting. He wouldn't have recorded anything before that because it was inert. But once he actually got himself in the suit, the cameras turned on and you got that recording.
If we get him stable again, we can question him about what that was about.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Caretaker breaks in and says, Dr. Reyes is suffering from serious decompression sickness. He has many burst vessels in and around his face and eyes. He also has massive CO2 poisoning, as well as a puncture wound in his abdomen that has nicked a few important uh, or nicked some of his intestines. It is going to require a long stint in a medical coma and the biobed working nonstop for quite some time to make him stable again. Currently, his condition is slated at critical. He is unable to be awoken.
Do you have the ability to put him under into that state?
He's already in that.
Did
The
what?
caretaker said, caretaker said they put him in that state. Like he was in a coma, but they're keeping him in a medically continued coma while this is going on.
So we can't find out from him why he threw one of his colleagues out an airlock at this time.
Nope.
Yeah, we have no idea. Apparently he wants us to get the sensors back online.
We have internal and external sensors back online.
Not external.
No, the external are damaged.
The external are damaged. You have to do
That's
an extra vehicular, spacewalk basically to repair those. Internal systems are fine, but
Okay. She has cunning, which means you're supposed to know when somebody is like lying to you or trying to lead you astray.
you get kind of a bonus to it. Go ahead and make a. We're gonna call this an intuition plus empathy with your cunning.
Okay. So, do you have that pulled up already? What bonus the cunning does, or should I do that now?
I should, because I helped write it, but I don't have it.
I've got it right here.
Okay.
Anytime you're asked to make a skill check to convincingly tell a lie, you upgrade attribute dice to d8s. Same is true if you're trying to determine if someone else is lying.
Yep. So your attributes are a d8 here. This is we'll call this a psychology as the aptitude. So your attributes, which is your intuition on this one, would be d8s, and then your if you have psychology, or I think psychology should be it. Yeah, I think psychology. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, so the closest mind-based thing is negotiation and centering. That doesn't really line up with
Actually,
psychology.
negotiation works fine here too, because it's supposed to be any type of like verbal communication is negotiation.
Okay, so if anything comes up,
all
in
of your
that's
dice are
different.
d8s. Yes.
Oh, all my dice are d8s, not
Yep,
just the
all
first
of
two
your
are
dice
also
are
d8s.
d8s. Yeah. So those two d6s should be d8s.
Including your distress dice.
No, those are not d8s.
Okay, I'll roll a d8 for the one that didn't come up with success to replace. Okay, that one is seated anyway.
Fair enough. Okay. You've got 3 successes, and you don't think he's lying to you. It's hard to kind of tell. He didn't say a whole lot, and you've never read the expression of somebody with quite in his state before, because he was definitely in a form of like panic, but he seemed very sincere, and it seemed very important to him that this happened, that these things happened, that you did these things.
Okay, so from his own eyes, it's not a trap, but you saw what he did as much as I did.
Yes.
Titus, are there restraints on that
maybe
biobed?
He's not waking up anytime soon, but I will certainly put restraints down if it makes people feel better.
I just don't want any kind of other system failures to.
The moment Jacob says that, caretaker actually goes ahead and activates the restraint system.
Thank you, caretaker.
So what parts of that message do you think we should follow from an engineering standpoint?
I mean, we have to get from my understanding is that we don't know where the fuck we are.
So
And
we do have to turn those systems on. It's necessary to turn the systems on, even though this mutineer is telling us we should turn the systems on.
I mean,
yep.
we're going to need those systems no matter what. Like, if we intend to reestablish our course, we're going to have to know where we are to plot it.
Yeah.
Okay, fair.
All right. While that's discussing, Jacob, you've been kind of flipping through your information here, and leading up to that, you've noticed in the captain's log that a mention of a spot in space that was picked up on long-range sensors. That was just a sort of uh, blackened spot as you move, like whenever the what's the word I'm looking for, a star would move behind it, as in your perspective of the star would, it would just disappear, blink out until it was no longer there. And it's something that you've been noticing, and that he had been noticing and tracking. And then recently he says that Victoria Roberts, the uh, head engineer of Crew D, made a recommendation for a course change to that spot as a possible as and from there, that's all you get. He doesn't have anything really detailed about it. Um, he says, as I go over in my personal log, should they ever be recovered, um, I'm explaining the reasoning why, but I am ordering that the ship change course when it is applicable. That leading up to that week. So it's just kind of his deliberations on that stuff. Nothing too like, he doesn't get really personal in these logs. They're very like short and to the point. Not necessarily how these logs are supposed to be. He was not following protocol, but maybe if you got his personal logs, there would be some more in there, as he does mention them in these logs.
All right. Bella, on that suit, what was the date that his suit was still showing? You said
Well,
the
you
time
saw
was
that on the
incorrect.
camera too.
Okay, what was that then?
Like 65 years ago.
We'll scan, I guess,
To
to
the
that.
date, apparently.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll scan to that.
Like
that
it's
date
moving
and
in
kind
real
of get a feel for
time, but
what's
it's
happening there.
synced by 65.
Yeah. So, make another one of those investigation checks, please.
Yeah, the important thing is the time is still advancing on the suit, but it's 65 years in the past.
I'm gonna spend a couple seconds to reroll.
Okay.
Ugh. Again. There. One success.
That'll do it. Did you reroll a distress die?
Yes. Can you
You
not?
cannot reroll a distress die.
Oh, okay.
You may only roll primary die, reroll primary die, so that is a 1.
Okay.
And then
Well, I'll
you can-
reroll one of these 3 and see what I
Yeah.
can get then. Okay. So
Yeah,
2 successes,
two
which is
success.
canceled by
a
the
1.
one, so one
you got
success.
1 success.
Okay.
After some like kind of looking through, you end up finding the captain's log where he has mentioned where he mentions that today Roland Reyes and Jessica Dobbin were overcome with some form of he calls it kind of a space madness or what have you, and both of them ejected themselves from the ship to abandon the mission. He puts in there for both of them, in fact, sort of a mark on their record, a black mark on their record for failure to keep with the mission. Though he does mention that while he was hoping for better from Roland after he had agreed to see things their way. It seems that he still had the heart of a mutineer.
Is there any reference to, I guess, to that conversation of like when he saw them that way or saw it their way? Or is that going to be something I'm just going to have to pour through?
What do you mean? Do you mean like when he seeing things their way?
Yeah.
You're kind of looking through. You do find records of the captain saying that there was an attempted mutiny by the XO, one Tessa Carter. and members of that group included uh, Roland Reyes, Dietrich Yost, uh, Douglas Everett. I need to actually type something down. Sorry.
Yost, we
Douglas
found them in the first part.
Camila Vasquez, Eve Adams, Lana Freeman, and Richard Stubbins. Stubbins is the chef. Freeman was the psychiatrist. Adams was a nurse. Vasquez was the chief doctor. And Everett was the AI engineer.
Okay. And then the last one I'm going to be looking for in particular is I'm going to scroll to the time period when they should have woken us up to prepare for crew change.
This is one of the longer things that you've gotten from his stuff so far. But he says that it was a unfortunate necessity, but ultimately he felt that Victoria was right. If somehow one of the other crews did wake up, they would attempt to stop what they were doing, and that in that case, it was important to order the crew to basically kill everybody in their pods.
So it was captain's order to kill everyone while they slept.
Yes.
Can I determine why we were excluded from that, from his logs, or does it not seem to be there?
As far as you can tell, like he has a report that all of the pods were reading deceased. So from his understanding, all the pods were turned off. Why you survived, you don't know yet.
I remember we'd gotten some information on that that main terminal in the pod wake up room that we were supposed to wake up today. Was that about? I think it was from Engineer Yost, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Who we found in the first part for those following at home.
Andrews will start kind of mulling that over and kind of pacing around the CIC deck as he's trying to figure out what's happening.
Okay. Well, we're gonna go. So Titus, Bella, you are down there basically waiting, and Caretaker has said it could take hours, days. They're not sure. They will definitely keep you in the loop, but currently, the they're working the infirmary bio beds to keep things, to keep Roland alive. And while Jacob was flipping through that, what were the two of you doing? Returning, or were you looking around?
I'd be honest. So, Bella, what do you want to do? It seems like everything's under control here. We've got more things to do. I could go look in Yost's. I can go look in Yost's quarters myself if you don't feel comfortable doing so. Like,
just a reminder, because it's been a week. The crew quarters are currently have no atmosphere.
Oh right, I
But
forgot.
now, while you're in
that.
an EV suit, just letting you know that's going to require you to go into a situation with no air. But
we have EV suits though, so we can do it.
You do have EV suits. I just wanted you to know that is what you would be dealing with. Both the crew commons area, which is like the hangout area where you do your exercises. There's like UV light areas where you can kind of get that good the stuff that your skin needs that you don't get in space. There's things like that all through there. Recreations. That's also where you would eat. That's where the chef does their job. But that's what that whole deck is about. It's like crew R&R.
Knives.
Yeah.
I want my good knives.
I have data I need to recover from. I forgot what this captain's name was. Captain
Arno Aboye.
Yeah, Captain Aboye's personal logs that'll have more information as to why he made these, frankly, insane decisions. Going off mission,
Which
executing
decisions?
crew members, just. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't fill you all in on everything. It looks like there was an attempted mutiny by some of the crew, of Crew D, and it looks like it was probably the right call. For what it's worth, it seems that Engineer Reyes here was originally with the mutineers, though I would need to do a lot more digging to find out what happened. There's a lot of conversation and nuance that's omitted here, but it seems like after some sort of discovery or event, members of Crew D decided to change course.
Yeah, and from your timeline, I forgot to say, roughly a year later, the XO and 5 other people were confined to quarters on the captain's orders. That list was everybody, the list that I gave you, with the exception of Yost and Roland. They were not confined to quarters. And then as you look through, you see that there was another situation where, like, 2 years later, the crew broke free. And then as you're looking through, like, basically he had people in rotation feeding them and all that sort of stuff, like one by one, but they were basically prisoners. And they somehow broke free, and yeah, they attempted to retake the ship. He doesn't really give a ton of details. He again references his personal log, and at this point, you're realizing that what he's writing this captain's log for is himself. It's like a note, a post-it note to remind himself if he needs to look back where things are. He's not writing these to spec anymore because he doesn't expect anyone ever to read it other than him.
Yeah, there's too much data that's going to be in Captain Aboye's logs. I'm going to have to go there for that. If someone's going EVA, we should have a buddy system for that, because there's no way it's going to be safe. Who knows what wreckage and things you're going to find down there if it's been depressurized and for how long. So I don't know who's best to go for it. I don't know if the two of you want to go while I stay, or if I need to go with Titus or Bella. Like, presumably, I assume, Titus, you're going to want to go because you have. If we're already doing an EVA, we might as well do the repairs to the external sensors if we can.
Well, just to give you a heads up on the ship, external sensors are located above the decking system. So that central column where the lift is that leads through the saucer-shaped decks goes up further, and it widens out into a sensor array. It is a massive sensor array. There's stuff on there that it's like a long-range laser communication systems. Everything is located at that, which is which is far away from the crew quarters. So these are two things that you cannot do simultaneously.
It wouldn't be at the same time.
You would have to choose. Both of them are definitely involving EV, though. You're definitely going to need some stuff. Jacob, the fact that you're not wearing one right now is you figure you're probably going to have to pull one on too, but.
Did we pull enough for all three of us while we were on the bridge, or
there are more there? You only pulled 2 initially, but there are some in the darkness at the edge of the command deck, near each of the airlocks on either side.
Okay. I personally say we prioritize information because, as Bella brought up, there's too much back and forth. We may be, by doing some of these repairs, we may be repairing the wrong things or following the wrong direction. More information that we have, the more likely we'll make the right decision. And he'll be kind of saying that as he's starting to turn and face where he remembers the airlocks to be, to go in and get a suit for himself. If anything, it'll be warmer than just being in his skivvies.
Yeah. All right. have to make a fumbling through the dark check.
That was intuition and vigilance.
It was intuition and vigilance for this one. That's going to be navigation.
Not an investigation.
No, this one's more navigate. You can't really you're not able to get
Not able to
visual
see it,
cues to investigate. You're navigating by memory. You've been here before. You have a general idea, but it's still pitch black.
Okay. One success.
You do. You kind of stumble through a little bit, but you are able to reach the wall where the airlock is. Move your way over and feel one of the suits. You drag it off of its hook with the helmet and pull it back to the light, and are able to don it. Fortunately for you, these suits are one size fits all. Once you get inside of it, it does tighten itself to the contours of your body appropriately. Thank you, future tech.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I do have a mechanics aptitude as well. He'll give a systems check of it to make sure it's sealed and it's like a good seal.
The EV suit is showing green across the board. You have a full tank of air. They are meant to basically recycle their air automatically within the ship systems. So it seems that is still functioning. All of the biosystems are connected properly and the readouts are green, and you're not seeing any issues with it. Everything is intact. There's no broken glass on the helmet or anything like that. You attach the helmet and the little HUD system inside pops up. I don't remember if I described these to you, but each system does have a heads-up display when you put the helmet on, and it basically will give you little basic information. You can instead of verbally speaking to somebody, you can actually send a little text message if you want to. Caretaker can send you a message if that's the case, and you can get kind of a readout and explanation of things. But you can it's will wirelessly connect to other EV suits, so you can see someone else's status, things like that. Just some basic emergency stuff you might need in the middle of a crazy spacewalk.
Okay. I imagine that'll take some time for me to get it, find it, review its data statistics, and then put it on. So,
Titus and Bella, were you heading back up to the command, or were you waiting for Jacob? I can't remember.
I think we were gonna try to explore Jost's quarters.
Yost's quarters.
So we were gonna head in the direction of doing that.
You were not waiting for Jacob on that one. You two were gonna go on your own. That's what I was asking, if you were waiting for Jacob or not.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bella would just go off on her own for that. If Titus would try to stop her or say, "Hey, maybe we should wait," that would be a thing. But Bella just wants to take care of it now.
Charges on ahead.
And not wait around for the
I love it.
Yeah.
So Bella just heads right over to the lift, being like, "Oh, let's go to this room." What do you do, Titus?
I follow.
Okay. So the two of you get back onto the lift, and you go up 2 floors, or one. It's 1 floor. You went down 2 floors earlier. That was my mistake. So you go up 1 floor to the crew quarters, and again, you have the situation where the lift does not want to open, so you have to do a manual override. And Caretaker actually chimes in Caretaker breaks in and says that gives you kind of the rundown of how to cycle out the atmosphere in the lift so that you're not sucked out into this room or have any kind of weirdness happen. But you are able to, and the doors open. Jacob, as you are done getting all of your stuff together, you pull up on the heads-up display some of the security cameras to see what's going on, and you do just in time to see Titus and Bella walk onto the crew quarters. And Bella
just nod and mutter to himself, well, I guess that decision was made.
Yeah.
And he'll turn back to the console.
Yeah, Bella, Titus, you see in front of you a destroyed crew quarters area. They are, whatever has happened to these 2 decks, you're not sure. It's like something has hit them and knocked a bunch of stuff loose. But where'd it go? The area itself is torn to shreds with debris and twisted metal blocking the hallways that would normally give you access to different quarters. There is one of the section is sectioned off into 4 different sections, and on each section there are 5 rooms. So there are 4 hallways, 5 rooms. At the end of each hallway, there is like a big doorway elevator thing where you would where you store your personal effects while you're in stasis, and they transfer them up and down during crew rotations. Um, but you have one hallway in which you can access. With what you know about, you do actually know where everybody was stationed and what rooms they were in. You are not on Yo's side, but maybe with all the damage, you might be able to find some other way through if you go on down this hallway.
Is the darkness just as pervasive there?
It's the same here as everywhere. You're roughly the first, the main hallway area that you're in, the like circular area that leads to each hallway. That's very well lit, but it starts to get dim as you start down each hallway, and then roughly 15 or so meters down, it just goes pitch black like the rest of them do. You're able to walk down this hallway to the darkness on the left. All of the rooms are on the right hand side. Yes, are on the right hand side. The first 2 rooms are like destroyed. There's nothing inside of them. One of the doors is kind of hung open on the. They're kind of like hanging open or halfway open. You see inside that there's like some sort of tear, and it's just full of debris. That's going to take hours to get through. Though the third door that you reach, right before you get to the darkness, is open, and inside of it is where'd it go? And from your heads-up display, you're getting that this is Ping Ping Lee's quarters, located at the dim light near the end of the hallway, or halfway down the hallway. And this is the easiest accessible room, or you can continue on in the darkness.
Was this one of the people who were part of the mutiny?
No, that's not one of the names that you got. This, however, this person is the secondary engineer. So was the secondary engineer of the crew. Each crew has 3 engineers. And you also kind of notice as you're looking in there some sort of strange. That there's lights, and it's the dim light, so you're not, unable to see, but there is some sort of free floating bundle of light standing next to one of the desks, and that draws both of your attention. Jacob, you are able to see through their camera what they see if you wish.
Yes, since they've already gone ahead, he'll basically move to the CIC, pull up various displays, and do what he can to navigate and assist from CIC.
Okay. All right. So sorry, let me get to the strange bundle of light seems to be free floating in the air. It's like topped by 2 like almost oval shapes side by side with a bunch with kind of lights kind of like spreading through it strangely, along with a thick cord of light in like running down the center, and then smaller cords of light coming from maybe 8 inches below the 2 glowing ovular orbs, they're sort of reaching or moving forward, and then 2 longer cords jutting off of the thicker middle cord almost down to the decking. Make a medicine check, please, Bella. That is going to be a intuition plus wit medicine. Nice. That's a success. Okay. So the first thing you think of when you see this is it looks like a picture that you've seen in your studies of a nervous system. Just sort of floating in the air.
As a player, I was thinking that. I'm glad that she got on too.
I'm glad I was explaining it in a way where somebody thought nervous system, to be honest. I was not sure.
I was thinking, like, is that a dendrite? Dendrite? And it was actually...
Yep, it's a nervous system sort of floating there. And as you kind of watch it, you notice that the arms of this system, they're reaching towards a desk handle, trying to almost like they're trying to open it. And as the arm kind of moves, and you see like little jolts of light come off of that cord, and go out into the shape of like a hand, almost like it's trying to that reaches down trying to grab the handle and just passes through it each time. And you see it do this 3 or 4 times before it kind of like halfway turns and then just disappears.
Okay, what? There's a big bundle of nerves floating around, vanishing. I thought I've seen a lot of very weird and disturbing things, but that one's new. Let's keep moving onwards.
All right,
Okay.
it's just
And
a bit of the
watch your step.
curiosity in me. Can you see if there's anything in that drawer? Just because I gotta know what the heck that was all about.
Fine.
Okay. So do you go? Who opens the drawer? Titus, you're with Bella, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
You
not
saw
doing
the
it.
same thing, so like, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, she's gonna, as if she was like throwing out some mouse droppings.
You know,
Very carefully opening the drawer. All right. Um, you open the drawer to find just an assortment of different like things in there. You find a well, what you can only describe as a self-pleasuring device. Some couple of different little data pads where like people would read or watch like different entertainment things, and then you see a thumb drive with a little like it looks like a red mark of some sort that's been made on it. Picking that up and turning it over, you notice that it has the words A and R on it.
So, is that somebody's initials from that list?
Pulling up the list on your HUD, no, it is not one of the initials from the list. You can plug the thumb drive into your suit to figure out what's on it.
I'm gonna wait
Don't-
until we're back in air before that happens, in case it causes things to malfunction.
Yeah, it's a good call, Bella.
But-
We'll do that on a blank suit in case it's a contained system or there's some kind of problem there.
Yeah, you could also plug it into some other station and have caretaker look at it too. But so the other parts of this room are, I mean, it's just one of the regular crew quarters. All of the crew quarters look pretty much the same. They have a bunk on one wall. There is a desk. Everybody has kind of a drawer and a foot locker where they keep their belongings. And then everybody's got a small table in their room as well where they can, like, with a, what are those things called? A terminal that they can use to access ship systems or, watch something or what have you. So, if you want to continue, where do you go from here? Is you can go into the darkness, or you can go in the darkness. That's pretty much where you're at right now.
Oh, choices. Good to know we're spoiled.
Hmm.
Is this the wing that Yost is under, or a different wing?
Now, Yost is on almost the opposite side. What you're trying to do is see if some of the damage has opened up a way for you to get through somewhere else. You are unable to from the other 3 hallways, as it were. Uh, Maybe if you had tools and hours, you could take the time to like cut through them and all that stuff, but you really don't know how long that may take.
Can I review? Well, it wouldn't have mattered because the systems were down. Never mind.
Mhm.
Caretaker, were these systems active and caretaker didn't have access to them? Like, would there be data of from the internal sensors of crew quarters? from before we reactivated Caretaker to it, or?
Caretaker can answer that question.
Okay.
So Caretaker is going to say that I was disconnected from crew quarters as one of the first places that I was disconnected from. Got it right here. 82 years ago. This is the same year that the change happened. The navigation change happened.
Is that the same year that people were confined to crew quarters?
The next
The
year they
mutineers?
were.
Okay.
Looking at Caretaker's like activity and where they were connected, it seems that Caretaker was stayed connected to everything. It got disconnected from crew quarters, crew commons, and from the CIC pretty much right off the bat. Was left connected to stasis and infirmary up until the order was given to kill everybody in stasis. That is when Caretaker was disconnected. How Caretaker came to be in stasis when you woke up, you do not know. But you do show that at one point Caretaker was disconnected from stasis, infirmary, and everything else. And then finally, the last thing they were disconnected from was life support, and that was roughly 45 or 35 years ago.
But none of those systems worked in his absence. It's not like they ran on their own and he just didn't have access to it.
Right. Caretaker didn't have access. Those systems work without Caretaker. Caretaker's job is to make sure that it is basically to oversee them and make sure they stay, relevant and good and whatnot without having to have constant human like oversight.
Mm-hmm.
And Caretaker can correct basic kind of issues with them here and there, and then if they're like software or something that doesn't have to physically be done, Caretaker can handle pretty much all of that.
Okay. That being said, are there any footage from crew quarters before we connected that shows where Roland was or like what his path was if I backtrack it?
I want you to make another investigation check and we'll get back to you. You're going to have to like do some hunting on that one, but yes. Titus and Bella, you were standing in this room holding a thumb drive. What did the two of you, do you want to go wander into the darkness, or you can also put you can put the thumb drive in the terminal if you wanted to, not your suit. I forgot about that. Terminals all have thumb drive ports. There is power on this deck. You are seeing lights and things like that. Just it's not everywhere. Some places it's flickering, things like that. But
I'd like to put the thumb drive in the terminal rather than my suit.
That's probably the better call.
Yeah.
Once you do, Titus, you see lines of code pop up on this thing. It seems to be a program. It's like a .exe type thing. I want you to make a technology check. We're going to call this one intuition plus your wit. You have technology.
I have electronics, psychology, research, and larceny. Larceny for some reason.
So
Okay.
I keep saying technology, but the word that I was looking for was electronics.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
So yeah, I have electronics and AI programming.
I don't know why I keep saying technology. That is not even in the game. So yeah, those are D8s. And you got one success. Hey, after a few moments of poking through the code, you're used to looking at like complicated AI code. You recognize what this is. This is a upgrade to your heads-up display. The purpose of this, you find within kind of a Word file, like one of those note files in there, and it shows it's written by Ping Ping, who is writing about how frustrated they are with all the darkness that keeps going around and how they can't do their job because they can't see anything, and no one else wanted to do anything about it. So they created an augmented reality system that shows them the general idea of where stuff is, even when they're in the dark. Basically, it's an overlay for your HUD that allows you to still navigate in the dark, just not perfectly. If something's out of place, you're going to trip over it, but you can get a general idea of where doorways are, things like that.
I'm glad that we have README files in the future.
Yep. I kind of like I tap on my comms a bit and be like, "Hey, found something that might be of use to us while navigating around."
What was on the thumb drive?
It's a it's essentially a augmented reality program for our HUD. So it shows like the roughest outlines of what should be there, that rather than like what is not being shown. It's quite interesting.
So it would show you pathways and like hard fixtures, firm points, and things. But if someone left like a box in the middle of the walkway, you're still going to trip on it.
Yes.
I mean, that has a certain benefit to it. Who was it that you said this room was? Ping Ping Lee, second engineer?
Yep, second engineer Ping Ping Lee.
And he was not amongst the mutineers, right?
She, but yes.
She. I'll leave that to your discretion. I don't know what caused this radical change of course and honestly insanity with Crew D. So
I mean, this program looks well. So it seems like they were really tired. Like part of it probably had to do with the reason that this program was designed and developed in the first place, which was the darkness that we keep running into and we haven't been able to explain. But the program seems solid. It doesn't, like, there's nothing malicious about it. I'd be super I'd be confident uploading this to our displays and our EV suits if it really comes down to it, if we want to do that.
Okay, let's do that now then.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't take long. You being
I'm gonna do it through Caretaker.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna make it. Hey, Caretaker.
Yes, Titus.
This program. I know that we're the only ones awake right now, and it seems like everyone else is dead. But can you go ahead and make this part of the like standardized like updates for HUDs for anybody else moving forward?
Yes, I can do that. I'll need to override the guidelines of the suit. One moment. And after a second, both of your HUDs just go out. Actually, all three of your HUDs go out. You're also wearing an EV suit, Jacob. So all three of your HUDs blink out, and then they start to like flash a moment. Flickering lights, add a minute, please.
Yep.
They begin to flash as they come back up, but when they do, it's slightly different. And Titus, you poke your head out and look down the hall, and you see what should be there is some hallway leading to the elevator going down, and two more doors on the right. It's sort of a reddish outline sitting on top of where things would be, so it's not like you're seeing it like a picture of it. You're seeing just basically like a very minimal sort of almost like a blueprint of the ship has been put onto your suit.
Thanks, Caretaker.
Now this is an upgrade.
Yeah. Can you make sure that all the rest of the EV suits on the ship get this upgrade? The ones that you can reach out only, obviously.
I can do that. It will take a moment, but that's shouldn't be difficult.
That's fine. I don't think that we'll need you immediately.
And Caretaker goes silent. So, yeah, that's where you're at. Jacob, you are able to, when you look through their HUD, you're seeing their HUD with the upgrades as well. So, you're seeing exactly what they see. They see exactly what should be there, whether or not it is.
We'll figure it out. Cool.
Let's try to find a way around to Gust's quarters. Find out what the hell's going on.
So the two doorways at the end of the thing, the first one you come to is closed. But the second one you kind of like come to, you put your hand where the door should be, and it is not there. Looking inside, you can kind of see the same outline as you did before, the bunk where it's supposed to be and everything else. This is actually the quarters of, where did it go? The ship psychiatrist, Lana Freeman. She was one of the mutineers, by the way, one of them that was confined to quarters.
Interesting.
Okay. From the lines, are we seeing a similar desk? That was
Yeah, it's in the
these
same
quarters?
place. Like, all of the rooms are like identical, with the exception, and you would know this, Jacob, of the captain and XO's quarters are both have some additional features to them for, command reasons.
Okay, I'm gonna open.
Yeah, as you kind of like begin walking through, you're very timid at first. You're not used to the AR system, but you're able to navigate a lot easier in the dark. Bella, however, you are still unable. You are in pitch black. You need to add a minute. You are unable
That's
to
fair.
see properly. And who's going
Okay,
first,
we're up
Titus or
with
Bella?
4.
Titus. All right, Titus, you're walking through first, and I need you to make a coordination plus reaction, and that's going to be tenacity.
Nation plus what?
Reaction. Tenacity is your aptitude.
Nope. Oh boy.
Oh, well, it's still a success.
Well, at least it's a success.
Yeah, you got one success. As you're stepping forward, your foot hits something and you stumble for just a moment, but you catch yourself by your left foot kind of like clips something on the ground, and you step forward with your right and slam down on something that feels like it may have just snapped when you did so. Looking down, you immediately look down, but of course the augment reality is not giving you what is there. Your lights are shining down, just not actually showing anything.
And we're in pitch black.
Mm-hmm.
I'll turn on my gaze.
Add a minute. Okay. Shadow Pierce turns on, and all of a sudden the room, as if it were, the room lights up for you, and you are standing over a body. It is a decayed body, to be sure, and it looks to be torn up in certain places. It's going to take some, investigation to figure out exactly what happened, but this does look to be the body of, and your HUD actually gives you from the like bio implants and stuff. This is the body of where'd it go?
Freeman.
Lana Freeman.
Lana Freeman. Thank you.
Oh Lord. Guys, I just found a body.
I don't see anything. It's still too dark in there. Obviously, it's not coming up on the AR display. What did you find?
Found one Lana Freeman.
She was one of the mutineers that was confined to quarters. Is there anything that indicates what happened to her, things like that?
Ain't my specialty, boss. I can try and bring her up to infirmary for a check. but who knows what damage that'll do to the decay with all this decay and God.
No.
I'd
Let's
really
just
like
bring
to
her
not
out
grab
into
a
the
dead
light.
body.
And you've already basically
I'll take a
broken
look
her
at
arm.
her.
So
Yeah, I broke her tibia. Like it's.
Oh, that's what it was. Oh
yeah,
my
it was
God.
like
Okay.
you stepped down and like cracked one of her arms in half, like broke one of the bones in her arm as you stepped down.
Oh, the
Bella,
tibia's
what'd you
in
say?
the leg. That's right. Yeah, no, you're right. It's also.
We can bring her out into the area better lighting and take a look at what it might have caused then.
I wouldn't be so concerned with it if as long as you can move around it safely. That's just an unfortunate thing that we're going to have to deal with later.
Titus,
We've
you do,
gotta get on
however,
this.
see just as your shadow pierce goes out, there is a gap on the other side of the wall leading into another hallway from a rip in the side of the thing, or rip in the side of the bulkhead. This rip also seems to be one side of it is on the exterior of the ship, like you could just jump out into the void of space should you so want, or you can walk into the hallway. I imagine I know which one you want to do, but
No.
Decisions.
Kind of good news. So the rip, does it look like it was ripped in or ripped out?
Make
Like-
a investigation check with that would have been it'd be mechanics for this one. So this is going to be we'll call it an intuition plus your vigilance mechanics.
Oh, the dice love me tonight.
You are absolutely right about that. All right, so you've got 2 successes on that.
Hey, at least we're not at the part of the ship where you get psychic damage for rolling ones.
Right.
Otherwise, you'd be in a really sorry state.
After kind of like poking your head around and through, you feel that like something ripped outwards from this. And as you're looking around, it's difficult to see, but it's almost like something inside of this. Something broke here, caused a massive explosive decompression, and just ruined this entire deck. You're not sure what caused it, but it looks like the tears are mostly like looks like they're angling outwards of the ship as opposed to something hitting and coming in, or at least in this area.
Okay. So I found out what depressurized crew quarters. It's a massive gash. And
I may have explained that poorly. All you know from this is that something caused an explosive decompression. This is from that decompression. That's why this hole's there. There was an explosion, a rip or something, but basically, whatever happened to cause this tear and cause this damage, at least in this section, this immediate section you're in, everything kind of pulled outwards, like it was sucked out of the ship.
Okay.
In this area.
That makes more sense.
Okay, thank you. And
No,
you're able.
You're
okay.
fine. I'm just going a little in and out at the moment. Can we take like 5 minutes?
We're going to be taking we were actually going to be taking a break any moment here anyways.
Okay.
So this is not a bad place to stop. Let me finish up Jacob's roll, and if that's cool, and then
yes, that's fine.
Okay. So Jacob, you were looking for the you were looking for what was going on with Roland before he got to this point.
Yes.
All right. So
real quick, I have done 2 rolls that have both resulted in 1s while being on the CIC. I took the 2 damage for that? Is that right?
Only
Are we still doing that?
if you were in the darkness. You are not
Okay,
currently in the darkness. Speaking of which, Titus actually should have taken a damage from that one. I forgot to mention, but we'll get back to that when we get back.
I thought it was about where we were on the ship.
Not everywhere on the
you
ship.
weren't in that
It's
part
not
of the
everywhere on
ship?
the ship. It's just certain points when you are in the darkness. That is when you feel that kind of like twinge on your nervous system, and like memories of pain flash through you. But you're as you're kind of like looking through, caretaker was disconnected from the security cameras at this time, but the security cameras were not disconnected. They were still being used, and you're able to kind of pick up what was going on. You see Roland come out of the lift and head straight to that point of CIC, and you see that on the lift he actually came from the uh, crew quarters before that, and as you kind of like lead down, he is uh, as you like follow him back, he's on a he's on a sprint down the hallway of one of the crew quarters from his quarters specifically, and gets into the lift to go up. Following before that is difficult because there's no the security cameras in his room are like destroyed. You're not able to connect with them, so you don't know what he was doing before that. A few moments later, you see Jess running after him, uh, and waiting at the lift for the lift to come back and all of that stuff. And then that's kind of where you pick up, but you're not able to get much more than that at this
Okay.
point.
What I was meaning was when he was like beating on the door to come in, like recently.
Oh no, you can't see any of that.
Okay.
The no, you can actually. You had security cameras for that portion. Before that, he came out of the darkness. Like
Okay.
he literally came out of nothingness, walked through the dim light is what you picked up for the first time. His lights kind of like just appear, and then he walks over to the door. He's limping. You can tell he's hurt, and he gets there and he just starts banging. And he banged on that thing for hours, it seems.
But so his decompression and shot out issue with Jess was 35 years ago. Is that right?
Uh, Double
Or
checking, but I think that's correct.
years upon years ago. It wasn't that
Many,
big.
many years ago. Yes, it was
Okay.
a long time ago. In uh, 65 years ago. And somehow he popped up today. And with that, we are going to be taking a break. So if you will all bear with us, we will get back to this to the well the
Crew of the
mysteries.
Endeavor. What
Yeah,
remains
and
of
the
it.
darkness. We're gonna call it. We'll get back at 11:10. Does that sound good, everybody?
Sounds great.
Okay, that is when we'll start back up. So let's take a quick break, and we'll see you then. Hi, everybody. You'll notice we are missing one player. Unfortunately, Ourania had to go, so we are actually going to end a little bit early this evening. Ourania um, sends her apologies, but they had some stuff come up. So that's fine. Thank you all for joining us this evening. We should be wrapping this one up in 2 weeks, probably, I think, with the time frame that we're at now. Um, So join us next Monday at 9 p.m. on the compound for the next exciting edition of Generation Midnight for the Midnight World. I'd like to offer thanks to my players this evening, Ourania, Edgar, and Pixie. And a special thank you, as always, to our producer, Izzy, who does all the behind the scenes work so that I don't have to. And it's phenomenal, really. It's why he's like my favorite person.
Fantastic as always.
Just to recap for those who were at the beginning, this has been the Midnight World. I'm one of the designers on. Gavin, Comrade Papa Bear, running Midnight Monday every Monday. We are looking right now at a release on Drive Through RPG on September 1st, so check back for that. That'll be formally announced here, and updates will be given here as it goes, barring something wild happening in the editing process. That's what our time frame looks like. Tomorrow night on the Discord, the Nat30s Discord, we have Discord D&D for those that wish to join it. If you are not part of the Discord, the information on how to do that is where? I don't remember.
Someone
it is.
usually types.
In the chat. There it is. In the chat. If you'd like to join that Discord and check it out, you can kind of just join the Discord channel and listen to some folks play a game and I think interact in the text chat portion of that, talk back and forth. Sort of like a mini stream. So we're going to turn it over to XO Jacob Andrews for the sign off.
Well, yeah, I'm Edgar. I portray XO Jacob Andrews of the Endeavor, acting captain of the Endeavor as of this session. And yeah, thank you guys for joining us. I look forward to seeing you guys next week.
And Pixie.
Hi, it's Pixie. Thank you for joining us. I play Bella Page tonight, and I just want everyone to look up at my dog before we go.
The power of the puppet.
She's just really cute. She's there for us.
Yeah, just.
And I hope you all have a good and restful night, despite watching a horror game.
Yeah.
As restful as the future sleeps.
That's right. So everybody, have a wonderful night. Have the best dreams you can after listening to all this wildness this evening, and I look forward to running next week and continuing on Generation Midnight. Looks like we've raised $20 this evening for our community cause. Thank you everybody who donated, subscribed, and assisted in that process. We will have a new one up next week. Every single week we do a different community cause, which is always based on a mutual aid kind of standpoint. So our donations go directly to someone in need, as opposed to some organization where it could just wind up in a paycheck. So that will be it for this evening, and hope everybody has a great night. Good night, everybody.
Good night.